All right, everyone. Hello and welcome back to another video here from Wholeo Awakening and Thunder Dragon Neigong. Today we're going to be talking about how to assess your health. Some questions and considerations for getting in touch with yourself. The point of this video is going to be to primarily help people who are just getting into natural health, who are wanting to uh, get a consultation with a practitioner, or who are just wanting to really hammer out some tangible goals for what they're trying to achieve with their with their healthcare considerations. Because one of the main things that I notice with a lot of the emails that I get, the messages that I get of prospective clients wanting to work with me, they'll send emails saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting into a healthier lifestyle. I want to start, but I don't know where to start." And they really, oftentimes, it's a confused mess. So they don't even really know where they're at, where they're coming from, what exactly they want to do. They say, "I want to make an improvement." What do you want to improve? Is my question. What exactly are your goals? Where are you coming from? And what is it that you want me to help you with? What is it you expect from yourself? And these are very important things that you really need to have hammered out and uh, codified into a structured list of exactly what your goals are. Because if you don't have solid goals, your chances of getting any real results are going to be slim. So what we're going to look at here are a few things to consider before you begin. So let's go ahead and get in. Number one, we need to become aware of the disconnect. Become aware of the disconnect between our thoughts and our bodies, which is a huge problem in modern society. I don't need to tell you, but modern life is filled with distractions. More often than not, many people have difficulty tuning out from their surroundings and diving into themselves. This is one thing that I see very often when I'm working with people, is that they don't even know how they feel. They might feel that something's wrong. They might feel, "Well, I don't feel how I think I should," but they don't even really know how they feel off, or in what way do they not feel the way they think they should. And they even have difficulty articulating, putting into words to describe how they feel. And this is largely a product of, in modern culture, we are so overstimulated. We are so distracted by the constant swirl of chaos going on around us. Constant phone calls, constant text messages, constant emails, constant social media, scrolling through social media. If you see any of my content, or if you talk to me, you know how I feel about doom scrolling, shorts, TikTok, all this stuff that is absolutely crippling the human attention span. The most recent numbers I heard were that the human attention span is now down to less than 10 seconds. And that is terrible. That is crippling to your ability to function in a healthy way, in a productive way. So modern life is filled with these distractions. Not only, of course, it's been made worse, exponentially worse, by modern technology, but also just general real life situations, stress and deadlines at work, things going on with family, different events scheduled throughout the week that you have to shuffle around and try to get to all the events. These things create such a chaotic swirl of distractions around us that it's very difficult to take pause and to notice throughout the day how we're feeling. It might be obvious to us that we don't feel like we'd like to. That we feel, well, we know we're stressed, and we know we're tired, and we know we're anxious. But I'm talking about honing in on the minutia, really the finer details of how we feel and how we are, particularly how we are being affected, how the way we feel changes in each of the situations we find ourselves in. It's tuning out from these surroundings, tuning out and slowing down so that we can bring our thoughts back into ourselves, back into our bodies, and really notice the origins and the pathways of these negative feelings that we have, both mentally, psychologically, and physically in our bodies. Because it's very often, these very distractions that are at the root of the health issues that we're wanting to address. And I always say in my martial arts practices, my students that I work with, the most difficult thing for people to do is typically not the more strenuous, active, fast-moving techniques. It is standing still, being silent, having no distractions, and simply being with themselves, by themselves, and analyzing their bodies. This is one thing that is crucial to martial arts practice, particularly the internal martial arts, the alchemical practices, is being able to draw the senses into the body and to feel and become aware of the flow of the fluids throughout the body, of the energetic impulses throughout the body, the quality of the tissues in the body, and the quality of the thoughts, the origins of the different thoughts and impulses that we might have. And this is absolutely torture for some people. For a lot of people, they'll just start trembling and freaking out, almost having breakdowns. I gotta have some sort of distraction. We've become so attuned, so conditioned to having constant noise that being in silence, having nothing going on, nothing to do, but simply observe ourselves and sit with ourselves is painful for some people, sometimes literally physically painful. But this is one of the things that we really have to get back to, because this is not only the way that we assess issues with our bodies, just like how we would become aware of potential blockages of energy, blockages of fluids in the body, tightness or tension in the tissues, but this is also the cause of so many of health problems and things that lead to health problems. So the first thing we have to do is become aware of this disconnect of our mind and body that has been the result of modern lifestyle, toxic modern lifestyle, where we're overstimulated, overstressed. We have too much on our plates, too much to do in too many different directions, and our bodies, our minds are not built to deal with this much nonsense, constant nonsense. So what we have to do first and foremost is become aware that this is an issue and take the steps that we have to take to, at least in some respect, have a quiet time for ourselves. We need to hammer out these periods throughout the day that we can breathe, relax, and simply think about and be aware of ourselves, who we are, what's happening in our bodies, so that we can really come to terms with, okay, I haven't been feeling well lately. What is it in me that I feel is blocked or stuck or off in some way? See, people struggle to recognize how they feel. People oftentimes have a difficulty putting into words what it is that they feel. So even when they know something is off, they still struggle to zero in on what it is they feel and to put words to it. I can't tell you how many times I've had people standing in front of me, and it's the funniest when it's like a couple, particularly older couples, will be like this, and there'll be an issue with the man, and he'll have a problem, and I'll try to ask, okay, I'll ask some questions. Well, when did it start, and when did you notice it? Basic questions, and they'll be like, oh, I don't know. It's just, it's there. I can't. And they're not even able to tell me the answer to these basic questions. And then, of course, the wife will chime in and start telling me exactly all the details of when it started and when it happens, and it gets worse and this. So, but this is I don't say this to be mean-spirited to anyone, but this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We've got to be able to get into ourselves and be aware of ourselves, and be aware of how we feel and what's happening in our bodies. And it doesn't take someone who's had an expert education in anatomy, physiology, biology to be able to understand basic human functions. I mean, this is basic high school stuff. Everyone should be able to know this, should be aware of it, should be able to answer basic questions about it, as long as they are at least in some way aware of their feelings and the sensations of their bodies, and how these things are affecting the way they feel overall, their health overall. So first thing we have to do is become aware of this disconnect, slow down, start paying attention to how you feel, start paying attention to your body. Get your thoughts back into your body so they're not so scattered around, oblivious to anything that's happening within you. Second, take stock of yourself. So, understanding that there is a disconnect that has to be addressed, you want to develop a deliberate awareness of what you do each day. So many people go through their days completely on autopilot. They don't know why they do anything they do. They do it out of habit. And this is another issue, just like the uh, being overwhelmed with too many responsibilities, too many activities, too many thoughts, too many distractions. Being in a position where you are doing things, you're performing activities throughout the day out of habit. You're not thinking about them. You're not aware of what it is you're exactly doing. That is also a problem that needs to be addressed, because you've got this situation where you're unaware of what's going on. And of course, one of the most important foundational principles of the internal practices, the energy arts, is to develop awareness, mindfulness. It should never be the case that we go through our daily activities without being aware of what we're doing. Now, in regards to health, consultations, supplements, these sorts of things, here again, I've seen so many people who will come to me and they'll say, we'll be talking about, well, what supplements are they on, what medications they're on, and they'll say, well, I've taken such and such, I've been taking this for 20 years, and I'll say, well, why are you taking that? And they'll say, I don't know. I don't know why I'm taking it. I don't know what it is really. I don't know what it's for. They'll come to me and they'll say, well, I've been taking this for 20 years. What's it for? You've been taking it 20 years and you don't know what it is. You don't know what it's for. You don't know why you're taking it. And on top of that, if I ask them to say, well, what brands are you using? They don't know. You've been taking it 20 years and you don't know what brand it is that you get. This is, here again, I don't say this to be mean to people, to be mean-spirited or critical, but I'm saying it to encourage people to take stock of what they're doing. If you're going through life on complete autopilot, there is a disconnect between where you are, where your thoughts are, and where you are in space, what you're doing. And that is terrible for your psychological health and for your physical health. You are facilitating all manner of problems in your life by not being aware and in harmony with what you're thinking and what you're doing, being present in yourself. It shouldn't be the case that you're doing something, particularly, or you're putting something in your body and you don't know what it is or why you're doing it. This goes for food as well, which is another one of the big problems that people have and a big contributor to most of the most common uh, health issues that people have complaints about is poor diet. People will mindlessly eat junk food and not even consider that it's making them feel bad, that it's affecting their sleep, affecting their digestion, affecting their blood pressure, their blood sugar, whatever it might be. Not putting two and two together and connecting the dots. Anytime we mindlessly go through life, we are setting ourselves up for problems. So we want to develop a habit of deliberate awareness of everything that we do on a daily basis. Don't do anything on autopilot. Bring your thoughts in, focus on what you're doing. Be aware of what you're doing. No, think to yourself, why am I doing this? Even the simplest things, brushing your teeth. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? What results do I hope to gain from it? When you eat, what is this food? What is it composed of? Why am I eating it? How do I feel? What do I hope to gain from this? Every little thing, nothing is too small, nothing is too insignificant. You're developing a habit of being aware. Take note of how you feel before, during, and after each activity. So not only do we want to be aware of where we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it, be aware of how we feel before, during, and after each of these activities, so that you'll start to notice patterns that are revealed over time. This is crucial to building a health report, to building a case study that we can look at, especially if you're going to look at it for yourself. A lot of this you can do for yourself, but especially if you're going to work with a practitioner, you need to know the patterns that you're experiencing, because it's not so simple as to say, I have X condition, what do I do for it? That is not a holistic way of thinking about things, and that's not going to lead you to long-term real results. Everyone is different, each individual is unique, each lifestyle situation is unique. Just because you have a named condition that you can take a drug for, that's not going to really be helpful necessarily when we're doing it from a holistic, natural point of view. Because we're not looking to just turn off your symptoms or put a band-aid on your problems. We're looking to actually correct the imbalances in you. And to do that, we've got to know details of how you live and what you're doing and how it is that you feel around each of these activities. So, take stock of yourself. Develop deliberate awareness of everything you do. Pay attention to the patterns of how you feel around each activity. Third, you want to make a list of the improvements that you want to see. Now, always remember that vague plans lead to vague results. If you don't have a real plan, you don't know where you're going. So you might get somewhere, but who knows if it's going to be where you're trying to get. Based on what you've learned from observing yourself in your daily life, observing how you feel, observing the things that you do each day, and how those things make you feel, before, during, and after. Based on these observations, you can make a list and you'll know, okay, when I eat this food, I don't feel good afterward. Okay, that's a pattern. Every time I eat this, I notice my energy goes down or I get a headache. If I do this activity too late at night, I can't sleep. All these kind of things, notice the patterns, observe how you feel, and then you can really start to observe, okay, these are things I don't like. So these are things I want to change. And you can use this information to create a structured list of things you'd like to change or improve. When you have a structured list, this allows you by yourself, if you're going to work on yourself, or if you're going to work with a practitioner, to create a structured plan of action for actualizing true change. Again, one of the biggest issues I have, people who email me wanting to work with me, is their message is very vague. I almost always, have to respond to the initial message with, okay, so what exactly are you trying to do? They'll email me and say, well, I want to get into health. I want to feel better. I want to start doing things more naturally. Okay, so what does that mean? How do you want to change? How do you want to do that? What are you wanting to change? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? And sometimes I'm hard on people this way because, again, not because I'm trying to be mean-spirited or difficult with them, but I'm trying to get them to think. People in modern culture, again, our attention span has been so depleted. We've got Google and AI doing everything for us. The ability of many people to be able to sit down and really think and come up with structured plans to really articulate their thoughts and to speak in coherent sentences, to write in coherent sentences, to explain things has been greatly diminished and is being more so all the time. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll push people. I'll be difficult with people because I'm trying to teach them this fundamental first lesson, which is you've got to be able to think critically about yourself, about goals, about life in general. Everything that you do, this skill will serve you in everything you do in life. So you've got to make a list. Make a list of the improvements you want to see. Be specific, be detailed, using the information that you gained from observation. So you have to remember that self-improvement is about self-discipline. Few things worth doing are easy. If something's easy, it's probably not worth your time. Everything that we're trying to do along the alchemical path cultivation, internal martial arts, internal energy work, is all about refining the self. Each and every day, we burn ourselves down, calcine in the fire, and build ourselves back up as something new and better than we were before. Change requires breaking unproductive habits and replacing them with productive ones. And this is a lifelong process. Every day, your goal should be to be a little better than the day before. No one can do this for you. The practitioner can offer advice. I can sit here and offer you advice, but it is you who must make the decisions to walk the path. If you want to get results, no matter what it is, from your health, your finances, relationships, anything in life, you must commit to doing the work. And it takes discipline. It takes being aware, being mindful, and it takes being observant of what you need to do, making a list, and accomplishing it. Now, one way that this also helps is that if you have a structured process, a structured list that you can go through, step by step, this helps you to accomplish it more readily because you're not as overwhelmed as if you just let your thoughts scatter everywhere and you think, well, I've got to do it, but I don't know how, I don't know where to start. I've got to do this, but then I've also got to do that. And I don't need to be over here, but I need to be over there. If you have a structured plan, you can take it step by step. Each day you can do one thing. Little changes, slight changes lead to great results. And they're easier to commit to. Gradually, each day, improve. And eventually, you'll look back and you'll say, "Well, look how far I've come. I'm a totally different person." This is the alchemical process in life. This is refining the self, disciplining the self, each day becoming better than the day before. So when you're going to set about making your life better, going to improve your health, you're going to have to take stock of where you're at. What's happening right now? What state are you in? Going to have to take assessment of where you want to go. What steps do you need to get there? And then you have to put it into action, start doing it. All of this requires discipline. Discipline to draw your thoughts in, eliminate distractions, focus on the goal. Be aware of yourself, be aware of how you are fitting into your reality, how your reality is affecting you. Once you bring your thoughts in, you're able to be aware of yourself, be properly aware of your surroundings, then you can start to make these changes. So that's just a little bit on how to assess yourself. Some of the things that you need to start being mindful of if you're going to really start taking steps toward improvement. Well, thank you for joining us today at Wholeo Awakening under Dragon Neigong. As always, be sure and check us out at our website, www.wholeoawakening.com, for classes, courses, consultations, educational material, and all of that good stuff. Be sure, wherever you're watching this, like, subscribe, follow, whatever is the applicable action wherever you're watching, for more content, more educational material. And we'll see you next time in another video. Take care, and we'll see you then.